Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified Doctor of Naturopathy, Dr. Stephen Cabral, shares with you exactly how you can reverse aging, take back your health, and live a life full of energy and passion, with new 20-minute episodes every single day to keep you healthy and engaged. Now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Excited to get into a brand new Mindset and Motivation Monday. This is my favorite way to start the week. I appreciate that so many of you tuning in for the Mindset and Motivation Monday. Although I am a board certified doctor of naturopathy, my background is in improving my own health and helping, of course, wellness clients all over the world. What I've always loved to be able to do is teach on the mind and how so much of what we believe we actually start to conceive and make a reality in our life. And I've just found that for many people who are on their own healing journey, it's often the mind that is what is needed to change as the initial catalyst in order to be able to get the results to multiply. So one of the things that I've taught about in the rain barrel effect, and I've been teaching now each and every Monday for the past 8 years, is what can we do in order to not only improve our body maybe by 1% each and every day, but improve our mind as well. And so I often talk about this synergy of getting our vision and our goals and our actions in alignment. And I love speaking on that topic. However, what I do know is that there is a percentage of people out there, and it's not a small one, it's not insignificant, of people that are so overwhelmed that they can't think about setting goals a year into the future or these big, enormous goals that could better their life in so many different ways because they're so struggled in the quagmire of life. They're just trotting along, trying to get by each and every hour. And so when I think of those people, because I was one of those people as well, for sure I was one of those people in my later teenage years when I was sick and into my early 20s, especially, lost, trying to figure out what to do with my life. I get it. I understand that. You're not setting goals like, oh, I want to be able to start a podcast one day. You're like, okay, start a podcast one day. I literally can't even get my own health and my own act together, right? So that's really challenging to set maybe these bigger, higher enlightenment level goals, these more creative goals. What happens if you're in a moment, and we will all have them in our life, unfortunately, where we're going to be in the struggle, where we can't even see ourselves getting out of that day? What do you do when you're in that position? And if you're a practitioner, this is important to know for yourself. Maybe you've taken IHP Mastery, maybe you've learned some of these things as well. But the truth is that you're going to have a friend, you're going to have a client, you're going to have a friend or family member, a client in need that needs to understand this. That when everything seems overwhelming and insurmountable in life, don't worry about 6 months from now, your 12-week year, all of those things. Worry about today. Worry about right now. And what I want you to do is, in the face of insurmountable odds, always begin at first to think, and this won't be easy, but to look back and understand you've been here before. There has been a time in your life, no, not exactly like the one that you're in right now, but there's been a time in your life that you have struggled, that the odds have seemed stacked against you, and yet you're here today. You made it through that, you'll make it through this. But how do we get moving forward? How do we get out of this stuck position right now? What I can tell you is this, from my own trials and error, as well as seeing this in my practice as well, is that we need to dissect what is going on right now. Not worry about the future. Remember, a lot of our troubles today, they stem from reliving the past, and it's typically in our mind. Again, I've been there, so I want to share that with you. So our present struggles stem from continuing to relive the past. We think about memories that we prefer not to think about, yet we still continue to think about them on loop. And we struggle with the same relationships that maybe even we've let go months or years ago. And what happens, that inhibits us from living today in this present moment, which is all we ever have. And that can be a challenge to get rid of and get out of. But also there's another group of people that are worried about the future. And this leads to anxiety. So depression is worrying about the past and anxiety is focused on the future. Well, the future literally never comes. It's always the perpetual now. And if we do understand that what we do in the now can change our future, then we might be able to start living more in this present moment. And that will help to reduce the anxiety. One of the best ways that we know to help reduce anxiety is to begin to do two things. One is take action. any action begins to reduce anxiety. Because now you're taking what? Ownership and control over your life. But the second is to understand, before you even take action, that you need to understand what the problem is. So I think that when you're feeling overwhelmed, you need to say, what am I overwhelmed by? And typically you will paint a picture that is larger than life. Certainly very scary and more that you could possibly handle. But what do we do when we have a large, scary monster of an image? Well, we start to say, this is way too much to handle. And I get it, it is. But what if we were to break down that big, scary image and dissect it into smaller pieces, into fragments? What would those be? So for example, let's say you're worried right now about your overall health. And you say, I'm tired, I have brain fog, I can't take care of my kids, I can't run my job, I can't do any of these things. I'm not a good spouse for my partner, like all the things that you could go through. That's an enormous sum to overcome. You need to become a better spouse, a better parent, better at your work, better at your health. You might be gaining weight, like all these different things. And so you think to yourself, well, I need to fix all of these then. But really, if we start to dissect the problem, we say, well, if we improved what, we would get better. Like, is there what's called a linchpin? Is there one thing that would create a domino effect? And you'd say, well, I don't know. And so a practitioner would say, well, what is it about your spousal relationship that isn't that good? You say, well, I'm tired all the time. I'm exhausted. At the end of the day, I don't even want to talk. I don't even want to say any more words. I don't want to see anybody. I just want to go to my room and be by myself. Okay. Why do you feel that way? And then you're getting clarifying questions. I'm exhausted, right? That's what they'll say to you. Okay. Exhausted. Got it. Do you feel like you're not a better mom, dad to your children? And they'll say, I just don't have any patience. And you might say, okay, well, why don't you have any patience? And they'll say, because I'm tired all the time. I have too much on my mind. I'm overwhelmed. And then a practitioner will start to see that this thing keeps coming up about tired, fatigued, exhausted. Interesting, right? So now the spouse, family. Okay, let's move on to work. Right now, you said you're not able to do your job how you want to, you're falling behind, all of these things. All right, let me know more about that. Why do you feel that is? Well, in order to be able to do my job, I need to be able to study more. I need to be able to learn more. I need to be able to spend more time providing a service for my clients, like all these different things. All right, what's holding you back from that? Well, I'm not getting enough sleep. And you might say, okay, I'm gonna keep that in the back of my mind, right? Not getting enough sleep. Okay, what else? Well, I'm feeling overwhelmed because I'm also thinking about that I should be with my kids more. I should be with my husband. I should be, what I'm going to do tonight to get dinner ready for the family. All of these different things swirling around the mind. Okay, got it. So, and then I asked the clarifying question, how many hours of sleep are you getting per night? And they would say, I'm in bed for about 8 hours. Oh, okay, well, you're in bed for 8 hours. That's typically enough sleep. But then qualify that further. How many hours are you actually asleep? Do you wear an Apple Watch? Do you wear an Oura Ring? Do you wear a Whoop strap? Are you tracking your sleep at all? Yes, and the thing is, I'm going to bed by 9:30 because I'm so exhausted. But I'm only getting about an hour and a half or sleep or so, and then I'm tossing and turning the whole night. Interesting. So now we know sleep is at least one of the things that we need to fix. We don't need to fix necessarily the relationship, the kids, the work, all of these different things. We need to help this person actually get more restful sleep. And this can go for any part of your life. And again, we would do the same thing looking at nutrition, looking at diet, looking at supplementation, looking at all the different things, stress reduction. But what we know is if this person's only getting, let's say like actual sleep, if they were to track it, 5.5, 6 hours, well, that's not enough. Not for someone with a busy life like this. And so what I want you to do in any area of your life, and again, it can be relationships, it can be health, it can be body transformation, it can be spirituality, it can be finance, it can be your career, whatever it is. And if you're overwhelmed by it, take whatever it is that you're overwhelmed by and write it down, journal it. Literally go through it with yourself or with an integrative health practitioner, that's taken mastery, that knows this type of work, and actually start to work the problem. And you may find that there's 1 or 2 dominoes. We typically find 1, 2, or 3 dominoes maximum, that if we solved for those, everything else would get better. So with this specific person, this is a real world example. We got them back their sleep within 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks. We gave them, yes, a little bit of diet advice, a little bit of nutritional supplement advice, a little bit of scheduling-based advice, but that was it. This person went from completely overwhelmed and anxious, to now feeling like they have better control of their life. Is it perfect? No, because nobody's life is perfect, right? A lot of people on social media like to portray a perfect life, but that life's not static. So a day may feel perfect, but maybe the next day isn't. But the thing is, to be 80 to 90% better than where you were before, that feels like perfection. That feels like living a life worth living. And now with that extra sleep, which leads to the extra energy, there's more time. Not just time, because we think of time on like a chronological level, right? We think of like minutes, seconds, minutes, hours, and a day. But what we don't understand is the quality of those minutes. So it's the quality of time that you're actually with your children, quality of that, not the quantity. You can be with your kids, but you can be on your phone the whole time, right? You can be with your spouse, but you can not be talking to them. You can be ignoring them. So it's the quality of that time. I think most people would rather have a quality 20 minutes to 30 minutes with an individual than hours where there is no connection. And what I found in my practice is that so much of that really does come down to the vitality of the individual. The more energy a person has, the more able they seem to be able to take on more of life's challenges. And if you're struggling right now with life's challenges, I would at least like you to start with looking at, do I have the energy in any given day in order to come up against many of the obstacles that appear in life? And if you don't, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the linchpin, because there's other reasons as well. There's poor relationships, there is poor health overall, there's all the different factors that you could fix in life. There's no doubt about that. But whatever it is, begin to ask why. It's those qualifying questions. And whenever anything seems so big, okay, why is it so big? Okay, in this particular area, why is that an issue? And if you give yourself 30 minutes to 60 minutes of time to journal, you will be able to delve much deeper into your subconscious, into the actual reasons where you feel stuck. These are things that I've used many, many times over the years of my practice. I hope they're going to be a benefit to you. If they have been, or you're looking forward to using them, leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much as always. Do feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it could serve. Take care, everybody, and I'll be back tomorrow on another Cabral Concept. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my health results accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stephencabral.com/courses.